Obedience, which is where you are following direct orders. So definition-wise, obedience is a change in behavior that is in response to the commands of others. Obedience is a change in behavior that is in response to the commands of others. Classic experiment done by Stanley Milgram looking at obedience. This was done in the 1960s, and he wanted to look at the way in which participants would comply with what an experimenter was wanting them to do. So again, these participants were just average people looking at in the newspaper, looking for participants that they were going to be paid to take part in the study. The study was done at Yale University, and they came in, and one was going to be the learner and one was going to be the teacher. And in this experiment, basically, the learner was in one room on the other side of the wall, and every time they got an incorrect response, the teacher had to give them an electric shock. Now, the learner was a Confederate. They were in on the experiment. However, the teacher did not know this, right? So every time they were given an electric shock, they thought they were actually giving an electric shock to this person. And so every time they gave an incorrect answer, they had to give an electric shock. And they started out by asking them, right, how many people do you actually think are going to go through with this experiment? And in the beginning, these participants were like, oh my gosh, you'll be lucky if you get 1 or 2 people to go through this experiment. No one's going to do this. But the participants were told to give increasing stronger electric shocks to another person. What they found is that 65% of participants used the highest setting in response to the experimenter's commands. They went the whole way up to 450 volts of electricity that they thought they were giving that person. It came to the point where in the other room, the person stopped responding. Now remember, the person was not actually getting shocked, but the teacher did not know that. And they stopped responding. And the teacher did at various times look at the experimenter and say, I think we should check in on this guy. I think something's wrong with this guy. And all the experimenter kept saying was, the study requires that you continue. And 65% of the time, the participants continued, and they went the whole way up to 450 volts of electricity, thinking that they actually killed the other individual. Afterwards, they found out that they did not. However, they were obedient, right? They were obedient to authority. The researcher told them to continue, and they continued. This slide, figure 2, this is actual footage from the study that was conducted. So you can see the shock generator there on the left, and then you can see the learner being hooked up to the shock generator by the experimenter, so on and so forth. Now, once they left that room, he unhooked himself. Remember, he was not getting shocked. However, the teacher was not aware of that, and they thought they were actually shocking them. Okay, that is the end of Module 53.